welcome back to the Jackrabbit Illustrated podcast. Hello, Chad. Hello, everyone
Matt.
that's out there. Hello, Ron.
Hello, Ron.
You're already in the comments.
Yeah. But he ain't going to make the game, so maybe we shouldn't recognize him.
He's not? Oh, yeah. Man. I missed that.
Superfan doesn't make the biggest game they've had all year.
Yeah, that's all right. All right, Ron. We'll meet you someday.
Life happens. Yeah.
Yep. So, Chad, how the heck you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. A little warm in here today. If I end up taking my hat off, I'll apologize for the gross hair. But just wanted to make sure everybody know black hat because, this is blackout week. So just a little visual cue for everybody. Yeah.
Perfect.
How about you, Matt? How you doing?
Hey, life's good. Just been chasing around the kids and they're back in school. So a little extra juice on the weekends, it feels like, and excited to be down in Brookings on next Saturday. I don't know about you, but I've watched a ton of football this weekend and it's been glorious. Like my son's interested in football now. And so it has just been awesome. Yesterday, I watched probably 4 or 5 games on ESPN Plus.
Have you been teaching him how to read defenses? That's a better question.
No.
Like what? Are we too high on this one?
Yeah,
is this Tampa 2? What do we got here? Is that base defense?
Not yet.
Or monster?
Not yet. So life's
awesome.
good.
Well,
yeah.
Hey man, I never got into that until here recently when I started doing this show with you. I was just more of a casual fan. I think that's apparent when you listen to my comments, but that's okay. That's I love the game. I love the Jacks. I think that comes through.
Yep. We're for the fans. So, we got to talk about and give a shout out to the Boda dealers of South Dakota. I just want to tell a quick story. So when I called John Colley this summer, I called him because A, I needed a new lawnmower, B, the longest winter of ever, and C, I had a bunch of holes to fill in from the derecho, the storm that came by a year ago on Memorial Day and took out probably 100 trees on my property. We dug out the roots instead of stump grinding, and that left giant craters on our acreage. And so I had a lot of dirt to move. I had 2 side dumps of black dirt that I had to move, and that tractor with the loader that I got really did it. So John helped me find the perfect tractor for my acreage, used it to mow my yard this summer. You're going to use it to blow snow this winter. So again, Kubota dealers of South Dakota, they'll make sure you get the right tractor along with the attachments for your property. So thanks for the sponsorship, guys.
Let me ask you just a little bit about that. That's one of them smaller-ish.
It's a subcompact.
About a 50 horse. Yeah, subcompact. That's what they call it.
I'm sure John's going to correct me, but I think it's like 28.
Is that what they are these days?
Yeah,
okay, because I know the old 70s ones were like 50 horse or
okay.
So
definitely.
There's probably different engines depending on what you get.
Yep.
I wonder if it has a Kubota diesel in there or Yam or it's just a joke. Sorry.
Okay, I was like, sorry, Chad, that's above me. That's your area, man.
It's gonna be a Kubota, right? It's a Kubota tractor.
Yeah, it's a Kubota tractor. Yeah. So, all right. Jeez, put me on the spot there.
Sorry. Well, we got a lot of questions rolling in. I'm really excited to see the Rev at tailgating. We got who else do we got coming?
Sean and Joe.
Kevin
and Stone.
Well,
Sean and Joe are coming later. Yeah, right.
Yeah, Sean and Joe are coming for Hobo Day.
Yep.
Labanowitz and Kevin and Montana Parlay are going to be there. So, those are the ones that I know of off the top of my head.
Sam is not coming. I asked him.
Okay.
Sam Herder. Yep. And then I don't think Stan is coming to this one either. So Stan Beckton. So I don't think he's coming this week. But yeah, should be a blast. I cannot wait to see you guys. It's going to be beautiful weather. I think high of 79, right? So should be good. Oh, Zach from Blue Bloods is coming up too.
Oh, that's right, Zach. Yeah, I knew there was. I couldn't remember. I thought there was one more.
Well, that's cool. All right. Should we talk about? Let's talk about Western Oregon first.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do a little bit of a recap. You want to hit it?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you start, Chad, because you were there. I was not there, folks, in full transparency. I had a work event that went till 6:30 that night. And we are now joined by Dallas, who was experiencing technology issues. Oh, is this like going to be like Coach Stig and you're going to
He's
show us
like
your basement?
iPhoning it.
Oh, this is brutal. I just had to reboot. It was the dumbest thing I had. So I was actually doing research. So I was doing show prep on my work computer. And then I switched over to the and the one I mean, I do every time, of course. But I
right.
was at, then I went to my little studio area in my Harry Potter under the cupboard, under the stairs. And then it didn't work, and then I went back to my work computer, and that didn't work. So I just reset everything, and we'll see what happens. But anyway, I'm here. What have I missed?
Not a whole lot. We just talked a little bit about Kubota tractors and what's going on in our lives a little bit, and moving on to the Western Oregon game. Kind of a little bit of a recap. I was there.
Chad, lead us off.
I was there, and in my ever attentiveness, I kind of missed the unveiling of the name. I was watching the center of the field, not the Stiglmeyer Family Athletic Center, which was just to my right. And I saw them with the banner up, and I was like, oh, when are they going to pull it down? And I thought the banner was going to have something on it. And Brendan's like, no, you tit. It's on the front of the building. I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's so, missed that. But I was, I was focused on Coach Stig and Lori and what was going on midfield. So, can't, especially with my blind right eye, I can't look left and see to the right very well. So
hold on, you have a blind right eye?
Yeah, not like legally blind, not like black blind. That makes sense. Really? So it's like extra peripheral vision, basically. That's how bad it is.
I did not know that.
That would explain why you kept driving on the rumble strips we went to Cedar Falls. Got it. No.
Matt, you're number one. Keeping this clean. So that was cool. The new entrance, I really couldn't see from where I was well either. I liked what they had on the video board, and they had that new video board over by us, but you probably couldn't tell. You just saw Brendan's picture, but they eventually shut off the video on that board because it was flashing kind of like Borg's intro hype video the whole time. So they just went to straight the Jackrabbit, like what's right there, on that board for most of the big game. But they get that situated. That'll be a nice addition. I think that's probably either similar to or the board they're going to move probably. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why they have it already. I don't know. I feel like they had that at one of the other games last year once or twice. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Western Oregon, their D-line was pretty big. Mm-hmm. They got after it, gave our guys some fits, even some of the guys you would have thought maybe they wouldn't have.
Size makes up for a lot, right? And that was not a bad football team by any means.
No.
And I did want to make sure I got to that some of the frustrations. I mean, there are things that you do when you're going against a giant, a line that's bigger than we're probably going to see the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. And there are ways to exploit that. And that maybe, and this isn't to say anything negative about Western Oregon. There's things that maybe you would do if that was a conference game to game plan for that and prep for that you wouldn't necessarily do in a game that you're confident that you're going to win. So I think that's maybe where, again, there was a little bit of frustration about, man, they're not moving them off the ball. We're not doing some of the things they wanted, but that's just because of how you prep for a game like that. Does that make sense?
Yep. At the end of the day, we moved the ball, right?
Yep.
Right.
Starters moved
fairly
easily.
I mean,
we punted once the entire game. So keep that in mind. After watching some of the crap yesterday that was out there, and seeing some of the top teams really struggle, for quarters or halves, I'm super proud of how our starters played overall, and even the twos for the most part, I thought played really well too. So yeah, that's overall, I'm okay with it. So
Chad, as somebody that was there, was that, and again, I missed, we didn't catch up on personal life stuff because I wasn't on, but my son Hudson had a game that night. He got to dress for his first varsity game. But do you think that the staff and the players got what they wanted out of the game?
I think they did, yeah. We probably kept our starters in longer than Brendan wanted. But I think they got some extra reps out of the linemen, just because, they were going up against some big dudes, and that's something that we're going to have come this game. I mean, look at the offensive line anyway for Montana State. They got some big dudes. So, and like you said, mass makes up part of the equation. You got to run around a guy that just stands there. Look at what Kenny Clark or someone, they just, or Pat, what's his name? Sorry.
Pat Williams.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, there's some big dudes, and being big is part of it, right? You still got to run around that. If you take up, the 1, the 2, and the 3, technique, there you go. You got a hole and a half by yourself. That leaves someone more free behind you. So, yeah, Western Oregon did not look terrible. There was a little bit of a talent gap, especially in the athlete positions, the more talent positions. But I think they're going to do really well because they have a solid set of linemen, both on offense and defense. And we know how that plays through the course of a season. If they can keep them guys healthy and keep them on there, they were playing a heck of a game, and they didn't give up even when our twos came in. Now, I did leave after the third quarter. The fourth quarter was kind of a throwaway for me. And so, Matt, if you were watching that, maybe you could comment a little bit more on that. I mean, we can go over the statistics. Statistically, it was a good game.
Right, exactly. And, Amar averaged 8.8 a carry, Angel 4.8. Isaiah only had the 4 carries, 4.8. Right. So, I mean, like statistically, it's just fine. Fourth quarter, I mean, fourth quarter was a story of missed opportunities. John Bell came in and was just juiced up, sailed a couple balls, and then Brody Gormley dropped a touchdown. I don't know if you saw that, Chad.
Yeah, I watched it on the replay, and I can't believe anybody that had open.
Yep.
My gosh, that one's gonna haunt him for a while in the room, I'm sure.
Yep. Well, that's, honestly, when I saw Griffin Wilde, we got to talk about Griffin a little bit. Get off the line and instantly be open. It was like, oh gosh, catch it. Just because that first play, basically, he was on the field, he catches a touchdown pass. Like, that's pretty cool. And you don't want him to be too nervous, maybe like Brody was, and drop it. So I'm glad he got such a good start. And what did he end up with? 4 catches for 70 some yards. Just looked phenomenal. And right. Dallas, I think we were wrong, buddy. I don't think he's going to redshirt.
I don't either.
When a guy looks like that on the field, I mean, he looks too damn good to redshirt.
So the only caveat to that would be is I'm not sure how postseason works. Because I know that in a conversation I was at a Gophers camp and PJ Fleck was talking about how at FBS bowl games don't count. So I don't know how FCS playoffs work.
Finally, someone admitted it.
Admitted what? Oh.
I mean, obviously, bowl games don't count.
Bowl games don't count towards the 4 games.
I'm pretty sure they do.
They do.
Playoffs do.
They have to. I don't understand how bowl games can't count.
I don't know, but
is it because bowl games aren't sanctioned by NCAA?
That could be.
It very well could be. Yeah. So okay, that makes sense. But it's tough. I mean, if somebody's ready, it really all depends. And then I'm sure there's a conversation with him of like, okay, here's the deal. You can be, a great player this year and 3 more, or you can have 4 years of possibly just being the guy. Mm-hmm. But if he's ready, and then also you got to keep in mind these are student athletes too. So all right, so if who knows academically, right? Like when does he want to graduate? What are his plans? Mm-hmm. All that stuff comes into account.
Yep. And Tom Neiman mentioned this on the broadcast, and Jimmy mentioned it in post game. Just that with Griffin coming from Vince Benedetto's offense at Jefferson, he knows the concepts, knows the lingo. So a lot of it's just been really a seamless transition for him in terms of the playbook. So that's pretty cool in and of itself there.
It's obvious to me that the physical tools are there, and it was obvious on tape, right? Like before the season started, and he made that first touchdown. I said to Brendan, I was like, that kid is not going to redshirt.
Nope.
And we had a little bit of a discussion, as we do during games. And by the end, he's like, yeah, that kid's not going to redshirt, Yep, no, not going to redshirt. Matt, how about some game balls? You want to throw those out?
Okay. So, I considered Mark Gronowski, 8 for 10 passing, 100 and some yards, just looked sharp.
214 rating QBR.
Yeah.
That's not terrible. 121 and one TED. That's what it was.
Yep. He just looked in command. I loved how he was going through his progressions. There's a couple times that he did look off, come back, look to his third. That was great to see because that's something that we've talked about before, getting him off his first read. Right, Chad?
And I made a note on my sheet here. I excuse me. I saw it. I watched it happen, and you texted the group about it during the game. He went through on that pass that went to our tight end. Now, why is his
Hines?
name?
Morgan?
No. Morgan. Mike. Yeah, Mike Morgan. Went to Mike Morgan. He went through, and I went back and counted. I think he went through 5 reads at least before he got to Morgan, and he went there fast.
Yeah.
So he went bang, 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 Morgan, and it was maybe 6 even. Because obviously I don't know what his progressions are, but he went through that progression real quick.
Well, it couldn't have been 6 because math says that that's more players on the field. Unless we had 12 guys on, it could have been 6. But
he could have looked. He could have looked back. He could have looked back.
Could have chucked it up
one way, look back. I don't know.
But no, that's a good point, Chad. And actually, what makes me think of is not that it's tough to get inside somebody's head, but to understand what that game was for and the things that maybe he went in expecting to work on. If one of the things that Lujan and whomever else said, hey, we should work on this, that, and the other thing, he could intentionally be accelerating through reads and making sure that he takes advantage of that opportunity as he goes through. Mm-hmm. So that's actually really exciting to understand that a player is that mature to know that, hey, I'm going to work. This is my job today. And that he actually did that. And that's really cool.
Yep. Kind of just another, it was in rants and raves, but really want to highlight how our guys just looked physically on the field, right? That's funny, Rev.
Thanks, Rev. Thanks for having my back, brother. Yeah, I'll give you a beer when you come.
Rev just said Gronowski checked himself off too. That's how he got the 6th read. So, all right. So Matt Jacobs came in last summer, or maybe last winter, just as the strength and conditioning coach. And when I went through interviews last summer, there was lots of talk about, geez, these guys just look so different. And then we saw it, right? On the Iowa game, our guys looked impressive. I just could not believe how our guys looked on TV in this week 1 win. I think I wrote it in rants and raves, but the first time it caught my attention was the kickoff coverage unit and those 2s and 3s, the backup linebackers and safeties running off the field. Just holy shit. These guys, guys are built
dudes.
And that, sure. So Matt, to rewind 10 years or whatever, that's the thing that always made the biggest difference when we were a good team, competitive, but we would walk into, even say an FBS game, and you could see the difference. I went out to that game that went so shitty at Illinois, mm-hmm. and you looked at their kickoff coverage team lined up, and it was a bunch of just thoroughbreds up and down the line. Mm-hmm. They're all 6'2" to 6'3", built the same, and we look like South Dakota kids, and it's oh man, this is not going to go well. And now you look up and down the line, just the way that everybody is built, and more and I don't mean that to say anything bad about South Dakota kids, clearly. So
we gotcha.
Okay, cool. But again, there was a difference, and now, that is what we look like. It is, top to bottom, backups, scholarship, whatever. It's a bunch of freaking athletes that look like they're ready to line up and play.
Yeah,
bunch of stackable washer dryers, huh?
I love it.
So kudos to Matt Jacobs and staff. Yeah. Man alive. Getting a lot of comments here, I guess, too, about Tucker Large, and we need to highlight Tucker Large, right? Because he was someone last year that we were surprised to see early in the season, and then as the season went along, he started playing some safety. He started filling in at linebacker. Well, that was weird. And this summer, everyone I talked to talked about Tucker Large. Tanner Castor, we talked about his preseason blog, right? Last episode. when they surveyed teammates, Tucker Large got votes from those 30 teammates as the best defensive player on the team. And that's something that definitely caught my eye in that blog article. And then Tucker had the pick 6 and just looked so smooth back there at safety.
And boy, does he have some closing speed on the run game.
Yeah.
That's what jumped off the page to me is, that's the notes I made is he'd come up just like crazy. I mean, and he's like sneakily quick. Like he doesn't look fast. And I know we've said that about, I don't know, Zach Zenner. He doesn't look fast, but he's fast. And I think Tucker Large is kind of like that because when he was weaving his way through on that return, he didn't look all that fast and graceful, but he got there real quick. So
Chad, to me, that is football instincts is what that actually is, because there's your 40 time, your 10 time, your pro agility, all that stuff. But the way that you can just see things in the moment and react and get to the ball, that's like what Tucker has. Is he just, the term football guy gets thrown out, like that just looks to me like someone that gets in the zone and just understands where he has to be at any given time on the field.
And the downfield blocking on that return for a touchdown was pretty impressive by the defense.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'll give him some kudos on that.
Yeah. Some of the best safeties I remember, you played with Scott Conant, right, Dallas? Did you play with Scott?
I did. What a baller, and just a fluid athlete, and also grew 3 inches when he got to school. Like I think he was, I think he was 6 foot when he showed up, and 6'3" by the time he went to the Chiefs.
Yep. So Scott Conant, Conrad Kerstead, and Nick Mears are some of my favorite all-time safeties at SDSU. And instincts, right? With those guys, you talk about fluid athletes as well. And I think that's something that's underrated with Tucker, definitely. So we'll see if he can kind of solidify his place up there. He has a lot of career left ahead of him. But man, I like the early returns. That's for sure.
Yeah. Only sophomore, right?
Yep.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So you gave Griffin Wilde on your blog the game ball. Are you sticking with that?
I did. I'm sticking with it.
Okay. How about you, Dallas? Who do you think on the offensive side of the ball?
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't get a chance. I watched it off and on. My son was playing, so I don't want to chime in beyond what Matt said. Honestly,
that's all right, man.
I would go with what he had, but
you're a great dad, and kudos to that. We need more of that in this world.
He got his first first varsity snaps as a freshman under the lights. That was huge.
Excited for you and him. I put down both Amar and Mark. So I think I'll go with Amar 8.8 on those attempts. He looked great. What about defense? Matt, you had what? Savion?
Yeah, I went with Savion. I thought Savion just looked explosive out there. And I think I talked about this last week, right? That Trevere, they've said, has found the fountain of youth, but Savion looks like someone maybe that's been playing football for 6 or 7 years, however long it's been. But man, I thought he looked good out there. He was flowing. He led the team in tackles, had its couple tackles for loss. So yeah.
And that's exactly who I had. We all know he's my guy. I've said it for a long time. So that's who I picked too. And Dustin Helton has down here, his game ball goes out to the student section. Way to show out. Absolutely.
Those pictures look nuts.
Yeah. It was the entire section and coming around the corner. So they had the next section over as well. Being on a Thursday is great because, we see a lot of kids go home for the weekends to see their families, to work on a farm, whatever it is. And so we all know when we were in college, Thursday was the night out. And that was one of the good things about it being a Thursday game. I think that will be the best student section we might see all year. Yep.
Well, let's hope they had fun, right? And had a good experience. Had fun, hopefully tailgating ahead of time. So I think that should build momentum, right? Record-setting freshman class. I don't know if you've been seeing the news out of campus, but parking has always been bad on campus. And it sounds like they're asking 150 people in like the Big East lot to relocate and get a different pass because they oversold so badly. They oversold by
always oversell though. Like I saw that news and I'm like, is that new?
Right. Yeah, I thought that was part of the process. But anyways, so it's a huge freshman class. So that's going to be exciting. And the fans in general, who said that? Scott O'Connell again. Awesome crowd for a Thursday night against a D2 opponent. Absolutely. Yep. That's going to earn an absolutely right there. Just the whole crowd in general. Chad, was it fairly engaged? Was it a fairly engaged crowd?
Oh yeah,
with the ceremonies
definitely.
and stuff? Yeah.
Well into the second half, I'd say. About halfway through the third quarters when people started sitting down a little bit more. Maybe not screaming for every first down. There was some good things on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball from the twos. If our second and our 2A and 2B quarterback, if you will, connect a little bit better, especially our 2A guy, man, if he figures out that accuracy a little bit, we got another 3 touchdowns and 1 less field goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I read those plays. Those guys were open. He just overthrew them, or they didn't get under the ball. I guess it could be, there's takes 2 people to tango, but it looked to me like he was just a little long on him. Put a little more touch on some of those balls, and we get a couple more touchdowns.
Talking about the 2A portion, Chase Mason on that touchdown run looked like a human being I do not want to tackle.
Yeah.
God, the term, again, you use the phrase downhill. That was the most downhill I've seen somebody run. That would be really, really hard to bring him down.
He looked like someone we're going to talk about here in this preview for Montana State. Is who he looked like. So
only he's lanky, right? So his run reminds me of like Randy Moss with those long legs.
Yep. Hey, we need to address this because this has come up a couple times. People have probably seen it in the comments. Everyone's curious. Oops. Sorry, Chad.
Sorry.
All right.
What is it? I can't read it.
Jordan Fink says, question on health. On the broadcast, Tom Neiman said Bach will be out a couple games. He playing this week, and what's the injury? Okay, Mr. Medical Man. Have you ever heard of HIPAA? Huh? All right, we can't.
Yeah, coach he's never that specific. He'll say it's a leg injury. Well, he's wearing a boot, so
yeah, we don't know
foot,
for sure.
Leg, ankle. Yeah. I mean all those things, right? It could be any of those.
Yeah, he's out a couple weeks. That's what we know. The specifics of the injury, we do not know. So, yeah. We're going to be okay. It stinks to not have him, but it's one of our deepest positions. We'll be all right.
We'll get there, Ron.
One other guy I just want to highlight because I thought he played phenomenal. And I know this is kind of hard to see in the stands sometimes, but Bryce Hawthorne.
Yeah.
Again, Coach Bibbs talked about him when I did my preview for the D line and just talking about his strength as a true freshman. Again, his dad is Ed Hawthorne, played in the league. He was insane. Just a wrecker in the backfield multiple times, couple tackles, I think. He's going to be a fun player to watch develop. Holy smokes. We've had a lot of highly regarded defensive line recruits in the last 10 years. He was not that highly recruited, and he may end up being one of the best that we've had. He looks that good.
Yeah, and I know I had notes down, man. I love what I see. Definitely a high motor guy, and he was just into it, right? Like every play, he was 110%. When he made that tackle behind the line, you could tell that really meant something to him. So
yeah,
it's good to see that.
Yep. All right. Should we transition to Montana State or Dallas? You got anything else?
No, I do not. I think we got what we needed out of the game. Excited that some of the younger guys got snaps. I don't know if now's the time to talk about it. The age of our defensive line and how many seniors we have listed is a concern. But you brought that up again with Hawthorne, and there's a couple other guys that I hope we get to see them in some other situations here during the course of the year to start to get them more reps, more confidence, and get them ready for the future. But otherwise, no, I'm good.
Okay.
Jimmy had brought up that on his coach's show and said a little bit about trying. Sorry, Matt, I didn't step on your toes. I hope
you're good.
He had said that, as we go on, we're going to see more of a hockey lineup change, and that's what they expect to do. And I think we saw it in that game, but probably in a game like MSU, if it's close, which we inevitably think it will be, we're going to see a little bit more of the ones and a little less of the 1As, 2s. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion, but that's how I read that comment from Jimmy on his coach's show last week.
Yeah, actually, not to drag this out longer, I did not get a chance to listen to the first ever Jimmy show. How was it? Was it good? How did you do?
Yeah, Yeah. It was.
It was funny because they addressed the resting pissed off face, if you will.
Yep.
And that was just Jimmy's like, my mom used to tell people that's just how he looks. So
what a cool dude.
Funny. Yeah, what a cool dude.
All right, so Scott O'Connell, good comment here. They need to advertise the blackout more. About half the people I talk to don't know about it. And this is I 100% agree. Let's get this. If you're watching this show, you hopefully know about it, and you hopefully know that the place to get your black shirt is from Jackrabbit Central, or your black lid, like his Chad's pointing to. The Jackrabbit Central, if you're new around here, is the campus bookstore, right? It's the stadium store. It's jackrabbitcentral.com. It's the downtown location in Brookings. They have all your needs for game day, for class, if you're a student watching this, whatever it may be. So be sure to swing in there. They open at 11 on game days, I think, on Saturdays, 11 to 2, I want to say. I plan to go there, get my son something for the blackout game. He needs some new Jackrabbit gear, he told me the other day. So really excited to be back in Brookings and doing that.
And then the stadium store, I think, is open until the start of the third quarter as well. So there's halftime or whatever. Yep. Sorry, Dallas.
No, sorry. So take that one step further. So one, go to Jackrabbit Central, buy like 5 things, no matter what you get. But if right now, any social media you're on, please. So if you're watching us on Facebook, Twitter, if you're listening on whatever podcast platform, get on your Facebook, get on your Twitter, whatever you do, and you need to make sure people understand that you wear black to this game. Now you might say, oh, I only have blue Jackrabbit gear. Wear a black shirt.
Yep.
Yes, you should go buy a black Jackrabbit shirt. That would be great. But wearing your blue Jackrabbit shirt is worse than wearing a black t-shirt. Wear black to the game. Please tell people this is not complicated. And rant.
Yeah. We've been pushing this for a while on this podcast and the other podcasts, so our podcasts, if you will. And we got to get people on board. This is how you make the stands look cool. This is how Iowa does yellow, black, yellow, black. I mean, we all got to get on board. We don't want to wear yellow, especially. Kind of like, we've been preaching for years when that other fluffy, furry, homeless cows come to town.
Yep.
And Corey Caraway has a good point. 25% off Jackrabbit Central for Touchdown Tuesday. We got all them tutties. Go get as big of a discount as you can. Great time to order on jackrabbitcentral.com. Is that just in person, the Touchdown Tuesday, or is that also online orders? I guess I don't know the answer to that.
Yep. All right. One last thing before we dive into this. Jim Poppins here to just talk about his favorite podcast, the Jackrabbit Sports Network podcast. Jim, we see that. We see you. So he's right. Go listen to that. Go subscribe to that. It's a good show that Tyler puts out every day during the school year, it seems like. So yes, this is Jim's favorite podcast, the Jackrabbit Sports Network podcast. So
words from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
Just jab it at him.
All right. Let's talk about Montana State, who destroyed Utah Tech, who they were supposed to destroy, right? 63 to 10. Is that what it was? Yeah, 63 to 20. 63 to 20. I was able to watch first half of this game yesterday. Montana State, for the most part, did what we thought they'd do, right? And run it down their throats. That Gold Rush atmosphere is insane.
That's so
awesome.
fun. I was at when we played out there. I was out there. My God, what a fun atmosphere.
Yep.
And our blackouts can be that, right? I mean, there we go.
Yes.
That's what we want, folks.
So Montana State dealing with a few injury eligibility issues. Their backup right tackle, who used to be a starter, missed the game with injury. Markey Johnson, their all-world kick returner, missed the game with injury. 2 receivers, Ty McCulloch, transfer from Colorado State. He has some really good numbers from Colorado State days, but he missed due to injury. And then their second wide receiver, I can't remember his name right now, has some eligibility issues that he missed the game for. So really, Tommy Malott looked okay as a passer, but he was really going after just one guy, and that was the Clevin. Nope. Dang it.
It's
I'll get Cleveland. There's Cleveland Thomas Jr.
Yeah, Cleveland Thomas Jr.
Yeah, number 2.
Japers. Yeah, I couldn't say Cleveland. Yeah, and he looked good. That they were connected on that back shoulder throw really well. So that's going to be interesting to watch.
And I think that, our defense is much better than theirs. The other person that you didn't mention with some eligibility issues was Houselight,
Oh yeah.
And they had a similar deal last year where one of their coaches got a DUI and he's had a 1-game suspension. And so I think we see a little bit of different offense because Vegan was calling the offense this last week. And I think Houselight will be back. I don't think he serves more than a 1-game suspension because that's kind of been their status quo. So it's hard to take away from this game in a lot of ways.
What we do know, right, is the same stuff that they had when they came in for the playoff game last year. They do have a stable of running backs, and we had a good laugh about it last year about how we really stopped them. But they have a transfer who looked pretty dang good, Julius Davis from Wisconsin. He looked powerful. They ran him on kind of a jet sweep end around type of deal. And he looked, fairly athletic on that. Elijah Elliott got in the game. And then they had 2 youngsters, Jared White and Scottree Humphrey, a freshman and a redshirt freshman that really looked explosive, in my opinion. And those are players to watch, but it's hard to tell. Their starting running back, Lane Sumner, looks like he got hurt pretty early on in that game. Took kind of a helmet to the knee, so who knows about his status, but he didn't come back in the game. And they actually ended up having to have their fullback return 1 punt because that was kind of goofy. So that was pretty goofy. But
and I'm with what Ron's saying here. You kind of touched on it. That number 22 is that Scotty Humphrey, and I think he's going to be a dude. So,
Especially when you got somebody like that puts up the kind of yards that he did. What do you have? He had over 100 yards and not listed on the 2 deep to start out with. That shows a lot of what just kind of their mentality as they recruit and they build their roster with the ability to run the ball.
It's interesting because a lot of the offseason stuff that was coming out from their area really, they talked about what we talked about with Mark, right? Wanting to go through the progressions and become a better passer. And I did not see that at all in this game. They trusted what's his butt to throw it, Sean Chambers to throw it twice. They only trust him to throw it twice. And he completed both of them for 53 yards, but one was a 45-yard pass. Malott was 8 for 14, 157 yards and a touchdown. But it was the same stuff. Like they weren't going through their progressions at all. Chambers got stuffed at the goal line 4 plays in a row.
Was it 4 total plays?
4 total plays.
I think it's safe to say that if Sean Chambers has the ball in his hands within 15 yards, he's more likely to run than throw. I'm not saying he won't throw, but
I mean,
it seems to be how they've played that for a couple of years now.
So, 2 quarterbacks or, 3 quarterbacks, between the 3 of them, they had 130, 140 yards rushing. Like that is the stuff that's still, to me, based on just past regimes, makes me nervous seeing quarterbacks can run that well.
I had that thought too, watching Malott get out on the edge on one of those plays where it was a RPO or no, maybe just something. And he just looked quick and elusive on that. And that's something maybe our field last year did prevent in a way on that. So we'll see what he can actually do. So
I did have one critique from our game that I didn't really talk about, but it goes to this, and that it seemed like our defensive ends weren't doing an excellent job of setting the edge. They were kind of cheating inside a bit too much. You know what I'm talking about?
Really?
We're not going to be able to do that in this game. That's my point, I guess. So we got to make sure we're setting that edge and keeping them guys inside.
Yeah, this is a total broken record thing for me. But if you have a mobile quarterback, your D line has to be so just methodical and structured in the way that you approach the game, and you can't have stats in your mind as you go into it. You have to understand my job is to start here, end here, I'm going to affect this, and then Tucker Large or Savion or whomever is going to look like an All-American. But that's just, that's how you have to approach that.
Yeah, or Freeman, whoever it might be.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want to talk about this comment from Ron. Ron says the young secondary does concern him as well, and I would say that as well. Your Lavelle Price, I think, right? He's playing your like nickelback spot right now.
Yep,
he looked good. I thought he had a nice game, but man, there were a lot of receivers open in that Utah Tech offense that were running free, that were just missed, and it seems like. And this is for any good defense, right? A good pass rush is going to make up for some of the flaws of your secondary. But there were some times where that quarterback had a little bit of time. And I trust Mark and the Yankees and even Wildy to find some space and make that connection where it was an incomplete ball this week. So, yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. I mean, we talked about that pregame, or pre-show, I guess. Go ahead.
I did just a little bit of reading. That was my understanding too. That maybe those are some of the jobs that were up for grabs that they weren't really sure about. So you've got, you had I think it was Miles Jackson, cornerback. There was Polidor, free safety, and then there's another like nickelback job, Price, I believe. All three of those I think were up in the air going in. So again, those are just I'm going to assume, and I don't know, people that are stepping into a job, gaining confidence, and then they're looking for them to make some plays that maybe they hadn't in the past.
Yep. Ron, would you say like Kenneth Eden and Alston are maybe your best pass rushers? That was my kind of perception, at least from the edge spot to the end spot, that those maybe.
Why didn't we bring Ron into the show?
Yeah, right. We should have. This was the week to do it.
This was the week to do it, wasn't it? Yep.
2025 in early August or whenever that. I think the Gold Rush game out there. We'll have to bring him in.
Oh, I want to go to that. Let's go to that.
We should all carpool and take that long ass drive out across South Dakota and into Montana.
Dallas, won't Hudson be a senior that year though?
He'll be a junior, which means he'll probably have a bunch of visits those weekends. But god dang it, I want to go. I'll send him to Michigan with Grandpa that weekend or something.
There we go. That'd be fun.
Maybe Helton would join us on that road trip.
Yeah. Hey, we do have to talk about this. Is they kind of have a weapon here, right? It's in their new kicker / punter, their combo guy as well. Did you guys see this guy? 6'9", 220 some pounds.
Talk about mechanical advantage on a giant leg.
Yeah.
Jeez, dude. And mass. Dude's huge too. So
yeah. Is that legal?
I was thinking maybe they should line him up. Okay. So this is what I was thinking. Vegans cut from the NDSU jib, and they like to run a little trickery. I think we need to keep an eye on him, if we have to make him punt, because he's shaped like a tight end, isn't he? I mean, if he can catch the ball, he might be kind of hard to take down for, if you only have 4 yards or 3 yards. So keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah, that's a hell of a point.
Yeah, right. I don't know. It just is interesting to see someone that tall kicking and punting. So transfer from SMU for those that haven't seen him yet. And he kicked and punted his freshman year, and then last year just did kickoffs. So interesting.
You saw that sign that said SMU was doing NIL before it was cool. Sorry, your comment made me think of that. So
that was so good.
Good job, Game Day. Has Game Day picked the location, by the way? Are they going to Texas, Alabama?
My son told me that, yes.
Okay.
And
there was some speculation they'd come to Brookings, but
no, there's no way week 2. But I do have a sheet I'm going to start tracking. I've got all the ranked matchups on November 4th for the Furry Cows. And I'm going to start checking off everybody that hosts between now and then, with the hope that maybe that brings them in.
Yep. Sure. Should we do some predictions and then just maybe talk about some of the other Valley games quick? I don't want to steal too much thunder from the B team, but there's some games. There's some games we should talk about.
There are a few games.
All right. So let's You writing these down, Chad, or should I write them down this year?
I think you're better at writing them down. I'm just trying to pull up the schedule.
All right,
because I did
sounds
not
good.
look forward at all.
There's my notebook. There's a little. Oh, geez, I had my Stig moment. You got to see a little bit of my basement there. So. All right.
Yeah, what a cool moment that was, though. At the beginning of the
It was awesome. Oh yeah. That it really looked good. Everything about that process and the coin flip and whatnot was cool. So
would have been better if we would have won the coin flip, I guess. But
hey, we got the ball first.
Yeah.
I would like to see that make rants and raves 1 week if we everything goes great, but we lose the coin flip. I want to see you put that in.
Okay, good.
You can ask Brendan. I will complain about anything that doesn't go the way I want it.
All right, Dallas, who are you picking for offensive player of the week?
We didn't talk about how we did, because I think I picked Savion, just for the record.
I think you did, yeah.
I did too, but I don't know if you probably picked it first, so you get it. But yes.
No, whatever. No, there's no. It's a tie. We both win. Everybody wins.
I don't, and I wanted to see a little more Angel Johnson than we did.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
That guy is gonna bust one. It is right around the corner. He dang near had one this game, and once he does, watch out. He's in the end zone in the blink of an eye. I was
sold. We were on the sideline, row one for the Iowa game last year, and he was the most impressive person walking out of the tunnel on the entire team. We went, oh, who's that? And I went, oh, that's Angel. Okay, so. That's where I'm like, I think he's gonna get his moment just because physically, again, speed. We know he's fast.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so since you're making me pick coming up, I think we're gonna sling the ball around.
Gotta hydrate, bud.
What's that?
Nothing. Chad's responding to Rev's comment about
gotcha.
Bush. Bush, I thought you drank beer.
Yeah. Gotcha. I'm on my phone, so I can't see anything. So if anyone wants to talk smack, I won't be able to see it if you pop it up. I don't know. We're gonna throw the ball. Let's go, Mark. I think Mark's gonna put up some great numbers. I think he's gonna run for one. I think he's gonna throw for 300-ish. Great game. Let's go with Mark.
Chad?
Well, Ron Lowney wants us to pick the Yankees, and thanks for recognizing that might not be spelled right, and it unfortunately is not. I think Griffin Wilde, bud. I'm gonna pick him. Matt's not happy. I can see that's who he was.
It's a ballsy pick.
I think the kid's gonna get deep, and they don't have the horses to run with that kid. He's fast, man.
Okay, so not to again. I have all the respect in the world for him. He's going to be the man for 3 or 4 years, but this is essentially. I mean, this is like Michigan playing at Georgia week 2, and you think the true freshman is going to be the offensive player of the week?
I think he could be. I'm just saying that kid's so fast, and we saw in the last game they struggled a little bit with the faster guys that for Utah Tech. If we can get him the ball and he can get behind them, it's going to be rough for them.
For all those reasons, Dallas just said I'm picking Jackson. So that's why I was smiling. That's why I was smiling, Chad, because I was
okay. Are we going to see the other Yankee is going to be the other question, I guess, because if he's on, then obviously Wilde's probably not going to be on the field. So I could be wrong, but
also at receiver, Graham Gorin looked good too, by the way.
Man.
Yes, he did.
So, all right, defense. Chad, I'll let you go defense first here.
Number 11. That's my guy this game. I love the Mike linebacker, but he's going to be the spy, like somebody mentioned earlier on here, on the quarterback. And I think Freeman, dude does nothing but tackle people behind the line of scrimmage. He's an animal, I can't say anything more about him. So that's my guy.
All right.
This week.
I am going to go with Daishawn. who maybe didn't have his best game, but I think he's going to be a factor in the run game on some of these quarterback outside zone stretch plays that they like. So going with Deshaun. Dallas, how about you?
I was going to go Freeman for everything that Chad just said, but let's go Savion again.
All right.
I mean, well, Dustin Helton picked wrong because he's going with Shiner Bach. Dustin, if you're paying attention earlier, dude's hurt, so he won't be playing.
This is going to be sidelined. If this game is executed well and we have great coaches, it is going to be the front four absorb the brunt of everything. They open up clear lanes, and someone has to be able to get sideline to sideline and make tackles. So there needs to be a linebacker with like 17 tackles this game.
Yeah. Also, that's why that coupled with my comment about the closing speed that Tucker Large has, Jim Poppin has a good choice there as well. So
Yep. All right. Score prediction. I really haven't settled in on this yet. I feel a little lost on it. So I'm gonna go like 38-24. That's hard for me to see.
So close to what
I was going 31-24. Goodness sakes.
So
I got 35-20.
Okay. And Chad, you're 31-24.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so we're all right in that neighborhood. That 24 feels like a lot of points for us to give up, but at the same time, this offense I think is tricky. Like they have good players too. So
this might be, if everything goes the way we want it to, this very well could be the team we see in Frisco.
Yep.
I mean, to say that we give up 18 or 20 or 21 or whatever is not an insult to our defense. This very well might be the second best team in the FCS.
Yep. And these predictions,
arguably easy.
Yeah. These predictions were sponsored by Culver's of Brookings and Watertown. Excited. I told my son I'm going to hit up Culver's after the game with him. I'll let him get some ice cream for the ride home. So
some Scoopy tokens.
We won't have any Scoopy tokens, but he's kind of strange. He likes his ice cream just like vanilla or chocolate right now. He doesn't like anything in it. So yeah, custard, right? Custard. Thanks. So I'll be doing, my peanut butter cement mixer. That's what I'll be doing.
Sprinkles. I'm guessing lots of sprinkles for you.
Yeah, sprinkles are for winners, so we'll be having them sprinklers.
Sprinkles. Sorry, they don't do sprinkles there. I like sprinkles on ice cream. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, good. So that's what we're going to be getting and doing after. But thank you, Culver's of Brookings and Watertown. Rev's getting his first Culver's experience in when he comes up. So that's exciting. We should document that, by the way.
His first breakfast pizza, I guess, too. So
perfect. When is he coming up? Do we know this, Rev? I can't read the screen.
I think Friday night he's spending the night with Brendan and Ariel. That's my understanding. I could be incorrect. He'll correct us, obviously.
Good.
So for anybody who doesn't know, Rev, FCS Fans Nation, coming up from Texas, going to have his first experience in the area.
Yep.
Excited for it.
Kevin, when are you and Stone getting in? Where you guys? I heard you're connected with Rick Jensen, but don't know when you're getting in. So let us know on that too.
And if you guys don't check out his show, FCS Nation Radio on Twitter, he posts there, and you can check that out. Him and Stone do a good job.
Perfect.
I'm excited to meet those guys. This is going to be fun. And again, just everybody that's listening, this is, if you're an FBS person, this is Georgia, Michigan, week 2. This is a very big deal. This is exciting. There's a reason why it's sold out immediately. I'm really excited for that. I don't know that I've been this, outside of the Natties guys, I've never been this excited for a game this far out.
Awesome.
I agree, but I think Michigan's not a great reference there. Just my opinion.
Really?
It's giving a little bit too much credit to Michigan. Maybe Ohio State or Alabama.
Ohio State can't. I don't think they're scoring points this year, and I'm excited to see actually what Youngstown does against them this week.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that, good segue, Dallas.
Speaking of that, good work.
Our Missouri Valley Conference peers. Honestly, it was an up and down weekend, right? We all thought you and I had a better chance against Iowa State and would look much better than they did.
That was so disappointing.
That was terrible. And the guy that we thought was going to show out the most, their quarterback, did not look sharp at all.
Yeah. No, their offensive line got their ass kicked, though, by that Iowa State front seven.
UNI's O-line looked like shit. They really did. And
Yeah.
I don't like running down an FCS team, but man, they look bad.
Apparently, the way to make Theo Day pedestrian is just put pressure on him all the time.
I'm guessing our defensive coaches took note of that one. Man, that was obvious.
Yeah. NDSU, put up a ton of yards. They won big like they were supposed to against Eastern Washington. I'm not sold on them still. Cam Miller to me still looked the offense as a whole, not even just Cam. The offense just looked disjointed. And Eastern Washington did move the ball at times too. It's just they had a lot of stupid that happened to them, and their offensive line too. Offensive line play is so crucial. Eastern Washington's offensive line was not good or up to the task of that game for sure.
To me, the whole thing depended on I don't know what Eastern Washington looks like this year. And, we're trying to get, Kyler's talking about him on the Fans Nation group. And, I think he's a little unsure, but it was from what I watched, a very NDSU game where you've got just pound the ball, pound the ball, 2 yards, 1 yard, 12 yards, 1 yard, 3 yards, 15 yards. And that's just the way the game went that I watched. And I don't know who they were facing. So we'll see how the year progresses.
Yep.
I had heard a couple people say, because I didn't get a chance to watch that game, so I'll admit it, that even though that's the case, Dallas, that they didn't even look NDSU sharp at that. I don't know. How did you see that?
Because to me, I didn't know that I thought they looked relatively sharp from the parts I watched. And again, I didn't watch the whole game. I saw, 3 or 4 chunks, but, they would, trying to grind the ball. And then you've got a very strong, powerful running back that hits a seam and can get 12. And that's just, looking for that little crease. And it looks like, to me, they were just picking apart a defense that they looked in control of and could decide, like, okay, here we see this. Here's a matchup. We're going to figure out the formation, the way to exploit this guy on this guy. There it is, 12 yards. And they did that. And that's the thing that pisses me off about NDSU is they are so surgical in the way that they run the ball. It's like there's this precision level in like an air raid offense, right, where you're looking for a matchup of this wide receiver on this linebacker, and you're going to get it. To me, when I watch North Dakota State, and I hate them, is that they look for, okay, I'm going to get this tight end on this linebacker. He's going to blow him up. That's going to give my running back 12 yards. And, that's the way they approach a game. And that's, I don't know, that's what it looked like to me from what I watched.
Yep. I'd say their tight ends were a bright spot for their offense.
Right.
I thought Stoffel looked good. And then the transfer from Buffalo that just didn't see the field last year looked really good too. That Finn Diggins looked nice.
That's a great name. Finn
Diggins. Really.
Sorry.
No, that's a good name.
Yeah.
I have the same thought.
Some other standouts from the Valley, in my opinion, Illinois State looked really good. Zach Annexted makes that offense much better. They're playing Dayton though.
Guys, he's such a good football player. Yeah. I mean, again, when I think he was in my neighborhood here in Mankato, I think. Ended up going to IMG Academy in Florida, went to Minnesota, and now is finishing out at there at Illinois State. And I mean, that is a very, very good football player that if everybody gels around him is going to cause some trouble.
Yep. The Sock Lukey's, Dustin Elton brings the Sock Lukey's up. Southern Illinois picked apart Austin P last night. Nick Baker looked sensational in the bits and pieces that I caught. And there's enough weapons around him in the passing game too that they're going to be okay, even with the graduation of so many good players for them too that have been around forever. So that's going to be a fun to watch. Still don't know about their defense for sure, but we'll see. UND also, Tommy Schuster looked really good. Bo Belquist had a sensational play. They did it like a trickeration play like UND does. And he broke a bunch of tackles, and it was a fun play. But that's going to be a combination to watch this year. When UND's offense is clicking, they're fun. So,
Matt, what was your takeaways from the USD game to continue down that line
sure.
of thinking?
So
I didn't get a chance to watch them either. So
I just caught bits and pieces of that game. I wasn't shocked by the score. Sounded like Missouri did call off the dogs in the second half. when that game was pretty out of hand. But USD fought in the second half. They didn't just roll over like we're used to seeing them do sometimes in big games like that. So they played with pride, and we'll see. It didn't sound like their offense had any chance really against Missouri's defense pretty much the whole game. Their offensive line was overwhelmed basically the whole time is what I've heard. So is what it is.
I mean, from the score and the box score, it looked like their offense was arguably better. I heard Bauman looked good in his return. So yeah, we'll look forward to seeing a little bit more from them. What they actually are going to be this week, because who do they play this week? St. Thomas.
St. Thomas.
That's probably not a good place to see. But
they barely
St. Thomas
beat
ain't
Black
bad
Hills.
though.
They barely beat Black Hills, man, this week. I could not believe that watching that score. So that was disappointing to see. But Youngstown, the other game in the Valley, they had a really sluggish first half. Then turned it on in the second half and scored a bunch of points. And so that, maybe they got right. Who knows? But really a slow start for them, which I'm just so glad that we didn't have. We got out and just took care of business right away where some of these teams didn't. So
how did Indiana State look? I thought somebody was saying
they got beat by Eastern Illinois 34-0 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Like Murray State's the one that looked good last night. They looked decent last night.
I must have confused the ISU B with the ISUR. So
yeah,
my bad.
Nope. Indiana State lost terribly. I think Kurt Mallory is going to be out. You can't be losing games like that to Eastern Illinois.
It's really too bad because as a coach and as a dude, I think I really like him. Dallas has something to add, I think, potentially, because he's waving his hand. So.
I think that was a no. Don't put me on.
No, sorry. No, I don't know what I'm not sure what you're talking about. There was like 10 times there. I was trying to interject on the USD thing. And
that's why I left you off. You were on, off. So
and I realized that my phone wasn't letting me rejoin and whatever. So hi.
Yeah, what do you have to say about USD? Go ahead. And he's priceless. Guys, you're a good looking dude. That's a good pose.
That's funny.
I'm gonna take you off though. Sorry, bud.
All right.
Anyway,
should we wrap this up, Chad?
I think so. It's about that time.
It is.
We're at an hour. We made our bonus money. We got over an hour.
Yep.
So,
man,
we'd love to have Dallas back on to close out, though.
Yeah.
I really tried. Am I on now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on.
Okay. Sorry.
You want to say anything about USD?
No, I was so back when you're again talking about how it went. I've got a buddy here in town that played for USD, and he was really negative on how the offense played, and specifically just the line play made it so they couldn't move anything. He actually thought it could have been worse than it was. So, I watched it. I thought they did fine. To me, like that's about how the game should have played out. Mm-hmm. You've got an FCS team that still trying to figure some stuff out. You've got Josh Davis. I'm a huge fan. He's going to figure out schematically how to take advantage of what they have. So to me, it wasn't terrible.
All right. I am so excited to see some of you at tailgating. Hope to make it over to the book club at some point, just to see people. But I
believe brisket will be there. Okay. That's the word on the street. So get there early to get your brisket.
Well, I likely won't be there. Miles says football, but I won't be there early. But yeah,
we can hold some for the Podfather, of course.
Yeah, there we go. Great. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Again, I can't thank you all enough. Our numbers have just been insane this year on everything we're doing and just the interest that's out there. So thank you to everyone that came and just hung out with us for the last hour to listen to us talk and get your questions answered and to share your thoughts. So
it is. This is so fun. And God, this week's going to be amazing. Sorry, is Ron coming to Brookings? No. Okay. God, I want to meet him.
Yeah. In 2025, he's going to take us out for steak.
Oh, he's a diehard, so we got to give props to a guy that's a diehard.
It is. I appreciate that, and just everybody that listens, because as Matt mentioned, just our numbers right now. We go through and track between all the different podcasts.
and blog posts and different interactions, and it's through the roof. Everybody's excited. Just fan participation is in a spot it's never been before, and this is so exciting.
Mm-hmm. And we would love to continue to grow that. So there's quite a few people that don't know we exist still. I talked to Matt's favorite long snapper, who's no longer with the team. I gave him a putting shot at tailgating, and he wasn't 100% aware of what we do. Kind of, but he didn't know about. Who? Yeah, Jaden.
What?
Jaden's his name, right? Yeah. I think maybe he just doesn't know about the blog. He doesn't know 100% of what we do. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. There's a few things he wasn't completely aware of. And,
that is a great point. So what Chad is getting at here is please share, like, subscribe, rate, tell a friend, share on Facebook, comment, whatever you need to do. However you're hearing this. Help spread the word, because we are trying to make a difference with just SDSU athletics, and this team is doing amazing things. We want to spread, we want to grow the fan base, we want to make people excited and help kind of just bring things along, and we need your help with that. So
yeah, and if we double our subscribers, Matt will double our salary, so there's that too.
Perfect.
No, 0 times 2 is forget.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Indeterminate form. Not exactly.
All right. With that, go big, go blue, go
Jacks, buddy.